So this was POPQuiz 7, which was related to Hooke's law, density, and vectors. Question 1, which was a structured question, figure 2.1 shows a spring balance, which is used to measure the weight of a baby. The spring inside the balance extends when a mass is suspended from it. The dial shows the extension of a spring and the value of mass in kilogram. So a dial is showing the value of the mass in kilogram. State Hooke's law, and the spring obeys the Hooke's law up to a weight of 75 newtons. State Hooke's law. What is a statement of a Hooke's law? Simple statement for a Hooke's law that extension of a spring is directly proportional to the force. So extension proportional to the force, or the applied force, you can say. State a relation between the mass of a baby and the force exerted on the spring due to the baby. So how they are related to each other? What will happen if the mass increase? The force on the spring will also increase. So we can also say that they are directly proportional. Like if you are increasing one quantity, the other also increase with the same rate. You can say they are directly proportional. Or if the mass increase, the weight will also, or the force on the spring will increase. Or you can also say that the relation, you can also write an equation for that weight is equals to, or the force on the spring is equals to mass multiplied by gravity. W equals m into g. Or you can also say that mass and weight are directly proportional to each other. The reading on the spring is 8 kg. Determine the force exerted on the spring, or they're asking for the weight, because the force exerted on the spring is actually equals to weight of the baby. As the gravity is pulling, there will be a force acting, and that force acting is actually a weight. So force exerted on the spring is actually equals to weight. So if they're asking for weight, weight equals mass multiplied by gravity. So W equals m into g, where m is the mass, which is equals to 8, and a gravity you will take as 9.8. When you solve like the past exam papers, 20, 21 session, 22 session, you will find they're taking gravity as 10. But 23 onward, you have to take gravity as 9.8. So you have to multiply 8 with 9.8. You will get the force here. Then the limit of a proportionality of a spring is at a force of 175. Means till 175, force and extension are directly proportional. So when two quantities are directly proportional, there should be a straight line which is passing through the origin. Then what will happen when there was one question from the student that whether it should go down or up. So what will happen when we further increase the force? It cannot go down. Why it cannot go down? Because if it goes down, it means the extension is decreasing. But if we add a load, the extension should continue to increase, but with a different rate. So what will happen? It will curve up. So if load or force on x-axis and extension on y-axis, then it will go curve up. But if we change, for example, they change the axis, that the force is there on y-axis and extension is there on x-axis now. So if force and extension, first it will be a straight line, and then this will curve down like this. So depends on the extension axis, like it will bend more towards the extension axis after crossing the limit of proportionality. Is it clear, this one? So it depends on the extension axis, it will bend towards that. A maging cylinder which contains 30 cm cube of a liquid is there. Some more liquid is added until the liquid level reaches to 50. The reading on the balance increased by 30. What is the density? Look, density we can find by knowing how much mass is there in a unit volume or how much increase in mass is there with the increase in volume. We will know the density. We don't know the reading on the balance. We don't know the original reading. But what happened first when it is 30 and we reach a level of 50, like, so more liquid is added until the liquid reaches 50 cm cube. So if it reaches 50 cm cube, how much liquid is being added? It means 20 cm cube of a liquid is added. So 20 cm cube is the volume of the liquid, which is added. Not the total, it's like how much is added. Then the reading on the balance increased by 30. So how much or what is the mass here or how much the balance reading increased by 30. So if we need the density, density is mass divided by volume, 30 divided by 20, which is equals to 1.5. So C will be the right answer. So what is the increase in volume and how much is the increase in mass? So increase in mass divided by increase in volume, we get the density. For this question on the diagram, what is the magnitude of the resultant? How we can find the magnitude of the resultant? The same liquid is added. If you see the previous question, a maging cylinder which contains 30 cm cube of a, even if you find the density of a liquid which is present or the density of a liquid which is added, it is the same thing because same liquid is added. Why we cannot use the, like if we want to find the density which is mass over volume, we know the volume is 30, but we don't know what is the mass of this 30 because there is no reading shown here. That's why we did not take the volume 30. What we did, how much liquid is added to it, how much liquid is added, so that is equals to 20 cm cube of a liquid is added. And how much the reading increases, like it was pointer here, then the reading increased by 30. So the mass of this amount of a liquid which is added is 30 and its volume is 20. That's why we did 30 divided by 20, because we don't know the mass of 30 original 30 cm cube of liquid. We don't know its mass. That's why we did not use that. That's why we use how much liquid is added and what is the increase in the mass. On the diagram shown, what is the magnitude of the resultant force of the two vectors? So whenever two vectors are perpendicular to each other, you can do a scale diagram, or you can also use a Pythagoras theorem, like the calculation method. If you use the Pythagoras theorem, like we have 8 Newton, and then we draw a 6 Newton. So two vectors are perpendicular. When we draw the hypotenuse, that will be the resultant. So this will be the resultant. And how we can find the resultant? So resultant is equals to under root 8 square plus 6 square. 8 square is 64. 6 square is 36. It is under root 100. Under root 100 is equals to 10. So C will be the right answer. This is one way. There is also another way. You can use a scale diagram as well. Like you complete this figure. This is 8 Newton, it's 6 Newton. So you complete this figure as a parallelogram. And draw the diagonal of this parallelogram and measure the length of this diagonal. Measure the length of this diagonal and compare, like this is a scale that this much length is representing 2 Newton. So example, if this was 1 centimeter, so 1 centimeter is representing 2 Newton, you'll measure the length of this part and convert into Newton. That is by the scale diagram. The calculation method, what we can do, we can consider them When two vectors are perpendicular, we can consider them as a side of a side of a triangle. And after considering them as a side of the triangle, just hypotenuse square equals to base square plus perpendicular square, and we get the result. Is it clear, this one? So either you can use a scale diagram like a measurement, or you can use a Pythagoras theorem as their perpendicular vectors to work out the result. In question 4, a rectangular swimming pool, which is 50-meter long and 25-meter wide and 2-meter deep. So we have the dimensions of a swimming pool, which is 50 meters long, 25 meters wide, and 2-meter deep. So 50, 25, and 2. And the density of a water is 1000. So we have the density of the water, which is 1000. The amount of the water which is inside, that we need the mass of a water. So density is equals to 1000 kilogram per meter cube. We have the formula that density is equals to mass divided by volume. So if we need the mass, it's density time volume. Density is 1000. Mass we don't know, but what about the volume? We have the dimensions 50, 25, and 2. So we multiply them. 50 times 25 times 2. This whole is divided, other side it will be multiplied. So it will be 1000 times 50 times 25 times 2. So this will give us the mass, the total mass, which is about 2005. It will be about 2.5 into 10 to the power 6 kilogram. Because the volume of the swimming pool is equals to the volume of a liquid inside. Like, what is the volume of a swimming pool? Same amount of a liquid will be there inside. And we have the density of a water, which is 1000. So we multiply density with volume, we get the mass of the liquid inside. Is it clear, this one? The last question related to the pop quiz 7.